Tanner Mordecia, the starting quarterback, the projected starting quarterback of the Wisconsin Badgers, had an awful day in a spring football game in Madison, and ESPN has started their layoffs today, Monday, April 24th. Welcome to episode 199 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Smash that like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. Let's first talk about the Wisconsin Badgers. If you think that they were going to look like that in their spring game and PATC wasn't going to talk about it, you are fooling yourselves. Wisconsin's spring game was a disaster at the quarterback position by David Hookstead of Outkick. There's a lot of different reports out there on the performance of Tanner Mordecia. Now, are we overreacting here at PATC over a performance in a spring football game? Of course we are. Back to the article. Wisconsin fans received a very disappointing offensive performance during the team's Saturday spring game. Badger fans are excited and hyped to see how quickly Luke Fickell can turn things around in Madison. After multiple disappointing seasons, losing the axe 2 years in a row to the Golden Gophers, Fickell was hired to inject energy into the soul of the program. One of his first steps was to bring in a lot of new talent, and that he did. None was more notable than the former SMU star quarterback, Tanner Mordecia. The former Mustang passer threw for 72 touchdowns, 7,152 yards the past 2 seasons at SMU. To say expectations are high would be one hell of an understatement. Unfortunately, it was an unmitigated disaster on Saturday. Mordecia finished the spring game with a total of 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 interceptions. And the offense under his leadership looked awful. To open the spring game, he went 2 for 6 with 2 picks. It was simply an early sign of how bad things would get. Here, this tweet from Bucky's fifth quarter. Ugly start for Tanner Mordecia. 3 drives, 3 interceptions, 2 for 6 passing. Woo! Ricardo Hallman was the beneficiary of the last INT on a great play, tracking the ball. Now, you can credit the defense for bringing the heat, but there's no excuse for QB1 to throw not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 interceptions. It's completely unacceptable, and fans aren't impressed. QB2, Braden Locke, did throw a touchdown during his time on the field, and that was the lone highlight. Nick Evers, who many thought would be QB2, came in with the third team and also tossed an interception according to Bucky's fifth quarter. I like Nick Evers. I liked it. I like that he went from Florida onto Wisconsin. There's no way to describe the day as anything other than a complete failure for the offense. Fans should take a deep breath before anyone panics. It's important to remember it's just the spring game. The first regular season game is more than 4 months away. There's plenty of time for Luke Fickell to get things figured out. Anyone who panics over a spring game has no idea what they're talking about. Coaches aren't eager to show much on offense, and for that reason, spring games always tend to give the defense an advantage. Mostly true. Mostly true. Wasn't true in the Gopher spring game, but mostly true. And finally, in the article, now, if Tanner Mordecia comes out and plays like this on week 1 against Buffalo, Camp Randall will be booing by his third drive. Wisconsin fans are definitely hoping Luke Fickell gets it figured out sooner rather than later. Here at Peek Around the Corner in our way too early Big Ten West predictions, we picked Wisconsin number 1 at PATC. We're going to reevaluate that prediction. In our way too early predictions coming this June, I think we're going to put Wisconsin down one or two rungs down on the ladder. Maybe Iowa, maybe Illinois takes the top spot. But Tanner Mordecia, I saw some of that game. Woof. It was not good. Is it too soon? Too much? Too fast? Luke Fickell's transition of Wisconsin Badgers offense into something historically quite different. Is it too much to ask in year one of Luke Fickell? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We will evaluate the Wisconsin Badgers projections going into the 2023 season. Put down your comments in the comments section below the video. Am I being too heavily biased? Is my maroon and gold showing too much? Am I being too hard on the Wisconsin Badgers after simply a spring football game? Probably. Maybe. I don't think so. Back now to the big story. ESPN begins process of laying off employees. It has begun. John Oran was the first to report this morning, 4:24. ESPN began laying off an unknown number of employees this morning as part of Disney's strategy to eliminate around 7,000 jobs. ESPN's HR department will start notifying affected staff this morning, according to a memo that ESPN's president Jimmy Pitaro sent to all employees this morning. This week's cuts are expected primarily to affect management in all departments. Employees in this wave will hear from their leader and human resource partner this week, Pitaro said. We will have another wave of notifications that will be completed by the start of the summer for those that are not in front-facing talent roles. Once those summer layoffs are completed, ESPN will focus on cutting some on-air talent. Bloomberg previously reported that Disney will lay off 15% of its entertainment division staff. That's a lot. That's 1 out of 6, almost 1 out of 6. Disney has been looking to more than one. Yeah, almost 1 out of 6. Disney has been looking to cut costs to counter growing losses in the streaming business. Plus, ESPN will need to find the money to complete a couple of high-profile rights deals over the next few years, including NBA and college football playoff. As we advance as a core segment of Disney with operational control and financial responsibility, we must further identify ways to be efficient and nimble, Pitaro said in his memo. We will continue to focus our workforce on initiatives that are most closely aligned with our critical priorities and emphasize decision-making and responsibility deeper into the organization. And then you can read the full text of Pitaro's memo below. We will provide a link in the description box. Now, what does that all mean for their current Pac-12 meeting negotiations going on right now? ESPN, Pac-12, Mashan says they're miles and miles apart, millions and millions dollars apart. We don't think it's much because this is all baked in. ESPN knew that they were going to be doing some layoffs right now. They knew that months ago when they started the negotiations, I believe, with the Pac-12. They knew that the ESPN knows that they're going to be going after hard the NBA next, getting a slice of the next NBA media package. That's going to take billions and billions of dollars. ESPN has known since the creation of the expanded playoffs for 2024, 2025. ESPN knew that they're going to have to bring the brink truck in for 2024, 2025. And then 2026, when the playoffs, we don't know what they're going to look like. They're going to be expanded. They're going to be at least 12 teams, and it's going to be out in the open market bidding on those 11 playoff games or more. If they expanded to 16 teams, it will be 15 games of content in the playoffs. That's going to be up for open bid. ESPN is going to have to really bring in the money to make sure to secure some of those playoff games, semifinal game, probably the championship game. So ESPN is loading up. As it said here in John Oran's article, they're loading up. They will need to find the money to complete a couple of high-profile rights deals over the next few years, including NBA and the college football playoff. So I believe this was all baked in. Plus, we're in a media market recession. But I think this is all baked in. The story of ESPN starting the layoffs today does not affect ESPN's negotiations with the Pac-12, which is good news for the Pac-12, except for the fact, according to the latest reports, they still are miles and miles, millions and millions of dollars apart from each other during these negotiations. Give me your thoughts, your comments about ESPN. Does the news of starting layoffs today somehow change the equation with their negotiations with the Pac-12, possibly getting some of that Pac-12 content? Does it change anything at all? Perception? Or is it the reality is all this was already baked in? So please give me your comments. I read them all. Until next time. From all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.